All right, everybody, welcome back to In the Mind of Music, exclusively on IPO Radio. On the phone tonight, we have Randall from Swindy, who just had the pleasure of performing with Commie Christ, Dope, Davy Suicide, September Morning, and Black Craft here in Arizona. How are you doing, Randall?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you so much for calling in.
Yes, the pleasure is all ours, all ours.
Right on. Right on.
So, I guess I'll first ask you about this. You're part of N-Sphere, a pretty popular band here in Tucson, Arizona. When did you decide to break away, come together with other musicians in your local music scene, and start Swindy, your own project, and why?
I just started Swindy kind of started it as an impulse thing. Swindy jumped on a bill July 22nd of last year. Mm-hmm. Lethal Injection invited N-Sphere to play a show with them at the Rialto, and I wanted to do it, but the rest of the band was not really into it. So I started to get a little frustrated in general with feeling held back, and I had all this new material that I was trying to bring to N-Sphere, and it just was not moving as quickly as I wanted to. So I realized at that point that I need to move at the pace of me. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to create a solo project so that I could say yes to things.
Okay.
And so I went ahead and got back with Lethal Injection and told them that N-Sphere wasn't going to be able to do the show, but that I was going to do it solo. And they were like, really? So they're like, well, what are you called? I'm like, Swindy. So I was like, my last name modified. Yeah. And really, it just kind of happened like that. It was just like a very spontaneous moment. I jumped on a bill at the Rialto. I put together 6 songs that I'd already written. Mm-hmm. And my plan was just to go out there by myself with my laptop and run backing tracks and just sing my songs, because this is all new stuff to me, and I was really eager to play it. Mm-hmm. But then I was talking to a buddy of mine who is a singer for an East Coast industrial band called 51 Peg.
Yeah, that's Jeff, right?
Yep, Jeff
Sargent.
Yeah,
that's Sargent, and he also plays guitar, and I had been talking with him about doing music in general, and I told him that I had a gig booked at the Rialto and what I was planning, and he was like, dude, if you want me to jump in with guitar, let me know. And I'm like, yeah, let's do guitar. And then it was Jeff who we started getting together to run through the set, and we both decided, all right, if it's me and him and we don't have a drummer, we need a drummer. So he goes, reach out to Mike Jenny from Alter Der Rune, and because Mike is a good friend of mine as well. And I was like, really? You think he'll want to play with us? He's like, I think so. So I called up Mike Jenny and said, hey, dude, we're playing a show at the Rialto. You want to play drums with me? He was like, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, because at that time, I guess his project with Alter de Ruin had started to kind of meet its end. So that was awesome. And you're already at a peak of wanting to create your own sound. So that worked well for him, right?
Yeah, and I was wanting to move more in the electronic realm, where N-Sphere is just good, wholesome rock. Right. You don't really do a lot of electronic and stuff like that, but
right, there's some contrast.
Really, have been listening to a lot of pop music and stuff lately that's just all backing tracks and bubble gum pop, and I wanted to do stuff like that, but with a little bit more of an edge to it. And the timing was just right. And so we put together the first incarnation of Swindy, which was Jeff Sargent on guitar, me on vocals, and Mike on drums. And then we ran backing tracks, and it worked. It was really cool. And from that point on, I have literally not booked Swindy once on my own. I've only taken offers, so I played with Stands with Fist after that. Then I opened up for the Black Moods. And then Farewell My Love, and then The Rock asked me to open for Trapped, and then I opened for William Control, and then I did a little acoustic performance in the KFMA studio, and then I opened for Whitney Payton, and then Powerman 5000, and Orgy, and OTEP, and Dope, and Commie Christ, and
Davy Suicide, and September Morning. Wow, I mean, and these are all offers to Swindy versus you going out and actually, doing all the legwork to get them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to doing a lot of legwork with N-Sphere, but with Swindy, I literally from day one, I've it's always been offers. It's always been someone saying, "Hey, can you do this?" And then after being seen at this show, a person approaching me after that show and saying, "Hey, would you want to open for this band?" And
Yeah, I could see
then
that.
someone at that show going, "Hey, you're really cool. You want to open for this band?" And I've just been saying yes to everything, and mostly focusing on developing the brand of Swindy,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
developing like the look, the photography, the brand, the logo, the merchandise and stuff like that. That's really where I've been putting a lot of energy.
That's really important, especially for those of you that are listening right now, that are new musicians. We were talking about, how to get gigs, and this is actually one of the things that we were talking about is, you want to show up, support other people, and go to other local bands shows, even, jump on whatever. You never know what kind of offers you're going to get after that, because it could just start this like huge, residual effect after that, like what's happening with Swindy. So that's awesome. How did you guys get in touch with Allison? Because she's also part of the group as well.
Yeah, once again, like you said, it's just about going out and being seen and being part of the scene. And, Allison, I think, was probably at my third or fourth show. Second show, actually, was with Stands with Fists on August 6th. And she was just there attending the show. And after I played, I met her. John Russell from Stands with Fists introduced me to her as this like opera singer girl. And she just started singing right there, and I was like, wow, you are a really good singer. Have you ever done any studio work? Like, you'd be a great studio singer. She goes, no, I've never really done anything with bands and stuff like that. So I actually had studio time booked with N-Sphere, and I invited her to come down and check it out. And so she did, and she literally was singing these harmonies with a new song I was working on, which ended up becoming a Swindy song. And we're just like, I'm there with the engineer, Brad Sconzart, and we're listening to her sing while I was tracking vocals. And we were both like, dude, we need to get Allison in there right now. So she jumped in and tracked vocals. And pretty much from that point on, she was, involved musically with me. And she started doing backing vocals for one or two songs. And then after a while, she just started doing vocals for the full sets. And now she's even more prominent than I am, really.
Yeah.
In the band. I think that she gets more attention than I do, than anyone else in the band does.
Yeah. Well, for those of you listening right now and you're not from Tucson, Arizona, I would invite you to go check out Swindy. They have a couple photos of everybody, and she's a very beautiful girl, and she definitely is a siren as far as her voice. She's amazingly talented. So, describe the sound of Swindy to a person who may never have heard your music before. I mean, you're talking a little bit about the sound as far as you want to do like the electronic versus the rock that people got to know from N-Sphere. But what would you say like the genre is for Swindy?
I mean, I call it electronic pop rock.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that.
So where did you find the inspiration to write your music?
I've always been a musician. I did a lot of N-Sphere. It was always like opening up my journal and pulling up journal entries and writing kind of dark stuff. And N-Sphere took a break in 2012, and I started writing music on my own. And I decided that I wanted to. And at that time too, I started actually getting turned on to Lady Gaga and Britney Spears and Kesha and Katy Perry and all this, mainstream pop music that I had never accepted before. And all of a sudden I fell in love with that stuff. And I started thinking, can I do this? And I wanted to like produce pop beats and stuff. So I just started dabbling in like Logic and Ableton and teaching myself new software. And it took me a few years to kind of develop my chops a little bit and start making this new sound for me. But then it was really hard to hide my rock roots. So it just kind of became this fusion, this like pop and rock fusion. So it's like, I've always described it as Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, and Kesha having an orgy with Maynard, Trent Reznor, and Kurt Cobain.
Wow, that's a good description.
That's kind of the sound I'm going for.
Wow.
It seems to be getting heavier though, in general. Like it started out more on the pop side, and now that I've been playing a lot of shows, I've been playing with industrial bands and metal bands a lot. Because that's kind of part of like Tucson's scene in general. That's a strength in Tucson. There's not really like a lot of bubblegum pop groups here in Tucson. So as I play these shows with more people, Swindy kind of like has to, like a chameleon, has to like adjust the sound to cater more to these bands. And so Swindy is sort of like heavier on the industrial side right now. But I definitely, in the recorded material, am going for some material that's just straight up pop music.
Well, yeah, that also goes hand in hand with what we're saying, so you're saying that you want to definitely appeal and keep that music kind of similar so that you can, assimilate into what's going on in the scene. And that's actually probably why you're even getting the offers that you're getting, because you sound, different enough to have and not be so similar, but then just like a really good compliment. So I'm definitely waiting for you guys to have like one of your own like headlining shows. It would be awesome, and see what you would be inviting to your show versus the other way around. So I'd like to definitely see that, what you would think would be closer to, invite for you guys. So let's talk about the recording process for the EP that's out right now since February with producer Matt Good. Tell us a little bit about that and how you got hooked up with Matt Good to begin with.
Yeah, once again, I'm probably going to drop this name a few times here, but I owe a lot to John Russell. That guy has really steered me in the right direction in a lot of ways, and he's given me a lot of opportunities as an artist here in Tucson. He's a pretty connected guy, and he's in a couple of bands that are really well known in Tucson. And he's a fan of Ensphere, and he was really encouraging Ensphere to hook up with Matt Good and record, because Ensphere is working on a new record right now. And so I convinced everyone in Ensphere to book a session with Matt Good, and we made the trip up to the Phoenix area and met him, and we recorded one of my new songs with Matt Good, which ended up being Reflection. And because John was the one introducing us, we wanted to feature John in the song, which is something John and I had talked about. So we decided to do Reflection, which was really a very different piece of music before we brought it to Matt Good. And it ended up turning into a Swindy song. It was actually started out as an Ensphere song, as a new Ensphere song. But after Matt produced it and we featured John, I started performing it as Swindy, and it just became a Swindy song.
Yeah, and there's rumors that that's the song that you guys want to debut your music video with off the EP, right?
Yeah, that is the first song we recorded with Matt, and it was one of my favorite pieces of music of the batch of songs that I was ready to bring to Matt and to produce. And I really liked the way that it came out after working with Matt. And I felt like that, of all the songs we did, I felt like that one was a really strong piece of music. So yeah, we went right into wanting to make a music video with that song.
Yeah. And the music video will of course feature Jonathan Russell.
Yeah, we're trying to hone that guy down. He's really busy.
Yeah, because like you're saying, he is definitely a very busy guy, very connected. He's in Lethal Injection as well as his own band Stands with Fists, and he's had a lot of experience with music. So definitely a very good connection for you guys. So you're definitely playing your cards very smart as far as who you're introducing and working with. Swindy.
Oh yeah, totally.
I respect that completely. You definitely have a very good formula. So,
and John, you better be in this guy's music video or I'll hunt you down.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you guys released the EP in February. I mean, how's the reception been on this project? I know that you were from, or you are still Ensphere, and a lot of people, are fans of Ensphere. And how do you think the reception was and seeing you with this project?
Yeah, the reception's been really awesome. I love being in a new project and doing something different than Ensphere, and I found like I've developed an entirely new fan base just of Swindy, people who don't even know about Ensphere, right. Which I like. People know me as Swindy, and are familiar with that stuff, and also the recorded material which Matt Good did. I did 5 songs with him and released the Swindy EP in February. And I lined up all my ducks, I think, in a right way, and did things properly, according to like music industry, what you should do, with registering the copyrights and the like PRO and all that, and releasing it online and making it available, on iTunes and stuff like that, which was stuff I didn't really do before. And, I have found that just because it's available online in like 40 different places, it's super easy to put it out there. And I've gotten pretty huge response on Swindy, a lot of positive feedback. I've gotten, I'm doing more radio interviews coming up this month and next month. And, I've been getting offers to play in Phoenix and Flagstaff. And, we're looking at booking a tour in the fall. So it's definitely, there's a buzz going on for sure with Swindy. I've
Nice.
noticed that. I've had a lot of people talking to me about it. And I haven't even done really a major push with it yet. It's just kind of out there. I announced it, done some social media advertising with it, done some live shows, but it hasn't even really begun yet, it seems. But it's going really well. I have no complaints at all.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it's definitely
I gotta
sounds
tell you,
like it.
dude, I've seen InSphere. I mean, I've been working technically in some of the same shows as you guys since 2009.
Yeah.
Before you guys stopped doing your thing, and I got to tell you, as much as I love InSphere, I can see why Swindy is getting such a huge difference as far as a response, because it's nothing like anything that's ever been heard in Tucson, for one, and for two, it's kind of like taking your ideas and feelings and how your music was shaped by Tucson, but also by how it's being shaped by this new style of music you were listening to. And it's funny that you said Lady Gaga, because when you were first talking about bubblegum pop, she was the first person that hit my head. I was like, I guarantee you he's been listening to Lady Gaga if he says bubblegum pop. No, I can see it, man. I mean, Swindy's a great group.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. So, with everything that's going on and all this, fast forward momentum, expected or not expected by you, would you say that you would be planning on shopping the album to labels in the future, or do you think that you're doing so well as a DIY band and an independent band that you think that you're just gonna do it all yourself?
I am doing really well as an independent, for sure, and it's really cool. And the industry is kind of geared to where independent artists can have a lot of success. There are definitely a number of steps that need to be done, and I don't think the average person or the average musician is aware of all the stuff that you need to do in order to have a successful product. But I think I've informed myself pretty well on a lot of that stuff, and I am enjoying the success from what I've done so far. I do want to shop it to labels. I mean, this EP is really just a demo. I do want to produce a full length at some point, and Swindy is such a new project, and like I said, it just sort of was an impulse thing. Like about 8 months ago is when I played the first show, and I've done only 15 shows since then, but they've all been really like high profile shows, really.
Yeah, I'd say so.
With national artists and stuff. So it's all part of the strategy, I guess. It's like developing a nice resume of shows and putting out a quality EP and getting good promo material, lots of good video, lots of good photos. I've been working with a company called Originate Design Productions, which gave me phenomenal photographs. And that's who I'm also doing the music video with for Reflection. And, all of that is gearing towards this package that I want to sort of get in place so that I have everything I need to pitch to record labels. And, I'm kind of have my eyes set on the festival circuit too.
Sure.
I want to start moving into some larger shows and having a full length record out. And yeah, getting signed on a record label would be cool, but I'm a little hesitant with just any record label because I don't want to get shelved or something like that. Sometimes you get signed with a record label and they take forever to move, and you start thinking to yourself as an artist, you know what, I could move way faster than this. Why am I even signed with this label, you know?
Yeah.
And you could.
So
And we've, I mean, you hit a lot of points that here on our show, In the Mind of Music, I mean, that is the premise of our show, and that is what motivates us to get this information out to new bands that may be struggling and not know why. Because, like you said, Randall, there is a lot of things that you have to learn and that a lot of people don't know that's behind the scenes. And I'm sure, signing a music deal is very glamorous and everything else, but it's really not like it was back, in the early 2000s, or it's not like it was in the 90s
and the 80s.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not like that. And frankly, I see a lot more musicians that do it independently, covering further with themselves and their own efforts than anything else. And I honestly really do see that. And the festival circuit, I just want to mention this real quick, is a really good thing right now, because that seems to be a very, very popular way for bands to actually start, networking with other bands even and going further.
Totally, and I think it's also, a lot of it comes down to, as far as nowadays, the connection between other musicians. I mean, if we all stick together and we all try to help each other and be more kind of like the 90s and the 80s, back when bands were actually helping each other instead of being dicks. But yeah, I mean, if we all start to help each other and we do our thing, I'm starting to notice is happening in Tucson. It's been I'd say the last 3 years, I've noticed a real change as far as the bands that know each other starting to interact more and try to become a family versus just a competition. But I think that will go a lot further than any record label at this point.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Absolutely.
With that.
I'm glad that you said that. Yeah, because I'm a real advocate for, the being supportive of your scene, of your local scene,
Totally,
your home and roots. Tucson is a cool, kind of interesting city, because it's not really like a major city, but it's not a small city either.
Nope, 1.2 million people, I think, now.
Yeah. And it does have a really talented music scene. There's a lot of music, and not just like rock music, and there's all kinds
all
of
over
talent
the place,
in Tucson. It's like it has this sort of fertility to be like in Austin, Texas. It's like there's a really cool scene. There's some new clubs coming up in Tucson, and there's some tried and true clubs like the Rock and Club Congress and the Flycatcher and the Rialto. And I am an advocate of bringing together as much of the local scene as possible, because we together we cross the river. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I want to be part of a strong scene, and I want to take Tucson, to the national level. I want to put us on the map, and it's going to take more than just me. It's all the bands here who are great, and there's a lot of great bands, and they're really expanding. Like Lethal Injection just did like a tour, just drove across the country and back.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of effort. And there's been a lot of bands from Tucson who are touring and playing out in Europe and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been over the last few years. I've noticed a lot of people finally stepping out and getting outside of this city and this town, or this state.
So Randall, speaking about that, kind of in the same area, what would be your greatest suggestion to bands on how to get more gigs and get people to come to more live shows?
I wouldn't with Swindy, it didn't really follow the formula. It was just a lot of luck and opportunity. But in general, like I'd say for a band, that's starting out, or if you're trying to find ways to I think it requires a little bit of a mental adjustment, like sort of calibrating your mentality. A lot of bands don't like pre-selling tickets, for example.
Oh yeah.
And and I understand that, because I didn't like that either. But there's a mental change, sort of like a change of perspective on it. And I think that you have to sort of if you take yourself seriously as a musician and you want to get more gigs and you want to be successful, you have to realize that it really does require a huge amount of work, and you have to be willing to hustle. And rather than feeling obligated to sell tickets, you kind of need to feel excited to sell tickets. You need to feel, excited to share your product with people and get your friends and family out there. And you need to be willing to use the internet to promote yourself. And it might be a little, you might be afraid that it's a little annoying for other people, but that's really what you have to do. You really have to work it. And getting more gigs, to me, it's like, get on a show with a known producer, a known promoter, and sell a lot of tickets for that promoter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they will be impressed, and with the draw, you will hand them a wad of cash, and they'll give you some cash back, and you'll have people who come to see you. You'll get exposed to a lot of new people. Definitely have a merchandise presence, because you're going to make money doing merchandise, and people are also going to become more aware of you that way. And I think no matter what, aim to deliver to the promoter. If you're getting started, because that's going to land you more shows.
I totally agree with that statement.
I think that is I don't know if that's going to be on our list tonight, but that's amazingly
it
good
should
advice.
Be. But I also want to touch on something else that you said earlier. You're right. You're not selling tickets. You're selling your live performance.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's a mental change that people have to get over. Yeah, you're going to take money that you're going to give to some promoter and all that stuff, but you're selling your future. You're working towards something positive, so that people need to get over this whole, well, I don't sell tickets thing, because that's another issue that they'll end up running into. Is if we don't start getting over that, then as we start to grow as a band and as a group, and we get into the point where we are doing our own show and headlining our own show, you're going to really regret the way that works, because then you're going to be asking people to sell tickets for your show, where they're going to be coming, you're the promoter, they're giving you the wad of cash, and they're going to show up and be like, well, I shouldn't have had to sell tickets. I didn't sell any tickets. And that's a mind change that it needs to stop on a lot of people's behalves. This isn't like, you're not going out there and just making me money, and no, I'm not just paying you off of exposure. I'm paying you off in exposure. You're making money off the people that I am bringing here, because even if you only sold 10 tickets, there's still 150 people here. Anyways, get over it. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, you definitely hit on something really great. That's the first time actually we get that advice on this show from a musician.
I think about it this way, and I've thought about it a lot lately, because I've recently had a mental change too, because I've been doing pre-sale tickets again, and that was something I had told myself I didn't want to do in the past, but because of how excited I was about Swindy and getting these opportunities to play these great shows, I started realizing there's really no rules on selling your product. Successful business people in general are people who have creative ideas, and they think outside the box, and they do things differently, strategically, national bands who sell 30,000 tickets, like that band is selling 30,000 tickets. They're just using all kinds of business tactics to do it, going through large companies, paying for lots of advertisement, whatever they're doing to get the exposure and get those tickets sold. We're allowed to do anything we want to do. We can use Venmo and PayPal and make online links to sell tickets. You can go out and hand sell tickets for cash. You can do whatever your mind can think of to sell tickets. And the difference is, if you're of the mentality of, I'm not going to sell tickets, that's where it ends. Yeah. You're not going to sell tickets. But if you're of the mentality of like, I am going to sell tickets, I'm going to sell more tickets every show I play. I'm going to think of new ways to sell tickets. I'm going to think of new ways to reach new audiences. I'm going to think of new ways to get people to come to my shows, and to deliver more and more ticket sales to the promoters I work with, because I'm going to be successful. Well, those are two different mentalities. One of them ends really quickly, and the other one just grows and grows and grows.
Fox, Swindy, Randall, I'm so happy you said that.
Yeah, you're giving me you're literally giving me goosebumps.
I want to cry.
Well, yeah, because we're getting excited about Swindy here, but we're getting excited because you're so excited, and it's so contagious, and
and it's so true.
And if you're so contagious about truly loving the music and believing in your music to a point where you're just like, yes, this is my live performance. This is my music. Come watch me, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
that's
like you
definitely
said, man,
amazing.
like if you don't take that first step, there's not going to be any steps after.
Yeah, you're so
Yeah, I mean,
positive.
it's hard.
You're
The
so
first
positive.
couple of
It is. It's totally
you,
hard.
you
Yeah.
got to start somewhere. It's a little awkward, but you know, it's just like anything. You know, you train yourself and you learn new habits. You learn lessons as you go. Every show is a new learning experience. But once you've got 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever shows, even just half a dozen shows under your belt, you will have learned so many things. And all you got to do is keep that positive attitude and just keep trying. You know,
Yeah.
just keep trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's great. I don't even need to ask. That's great advice. That's
Yeah, no, that's
awesome advice.
yeah, right
So
up there with some of the best.
right. I would say so. So you got to remember us when you're this huge star, Swindy, because we're going to be like quoting you and you're going to be like, ah, yes, I remember that interview. I remember it well. The best advice.
Nice. Yeah. Well, you know, I want Tucson's local scene to be the best it can possibly be. You
Yes,
know,
and it sounds
I
like it.
believe in us in our city, and I believe in the bands here, and you know, that's my best piece of advice to the bands in my music scene right now is, you know, let's work together, let's step it up, and let's do this.
And you know,
100.
I was gonna
Totally
ask.
agree.
I was gonna ask you what you would consider would be the biggest challenge in the music industry, but that even combats that. I mean, if you're positive and you believe in your music and you change your mindset about it, then that can combat one of the biggest challenges, because a lot of the challenges is getting people to come to their live shows.
Well,
I mean,
no,
my
what
God.
I think is really awesome about the advice that you just gave right now is that it kind of points the light at the real challenge, and the real challenge is yourself. Getting past those fears, getting
So true.
past that desire or drive or ego or whatever it is, because we all have some type of an ego, or that can be hurt, and that causes issues, or we try to be too competitive versus trying to be working well with each other. It's just I think the biggest and hardest thing to combat is yourself.
Yep, I agree with that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So what's next for Swindy? Are there any tours in the works at some point for you guys as far as away from Arizona?
Yeah, we're looking at doing some fall touring. We want to do small tours, like 4 or 5 show tours, like maybe 1 week out. We're looking at a Tucson, Phoenix, LA, San Diego circuit. There's also a nice little Texas circuit out there too, but we want to do short, quick ones. And so we're looking at doing that in the fall. Right now, though, we are playing at the Pima County Fair on April 26th. That's the last show we have booked right now. After that, I'm going to be shifting focus and doing a lot more with N-Sphere for a while as far as performing goes and being outward. Swindy's already in the writing process. We've got a bunch of new stuff going on. And the cool thing about Swindy is it really started as my solo thing. But as I've incorporated, half a dozen other musicians into the group, we've been writing, and it's actually turning into a real band. And so we're actually basically going to be in the writing process for a little while here after this Pima County show. Mike Jenny is an incredible producer and an electronic musician, and he has been drumming with me. But we just are bringing in a new drummer, and Mike is stepping up to the table, and he's going to be playing synth and a bunch of other electronic stuff.
Oh, how cool!
And it's gonna change a lot. And Allison is basically becoming a main singer in the band as well, because she's so good. And so it started as just me, but I've left the door open for anyone to grow with the group, and it really is growing. So I'm really excited about the new material that we're working on right now.
Right, we're very excited as well. So you gotta just as a reminder, you gotta get us your music so we can get you on the rotation for sure. So I would really love to start playing you guys more and more.
Oh yeah. If you don't have my music, I'll get it to you.
Yes, for sure. Because we get national listeners, and a lot of people, definitely download. It's another way to download the music for the artists, and it links to their pages and all that good stuff. So it's really cool. So April 26th at the Pima County Fair here in Tucson, everybody. If you're in Tucson, definitely want to check those guys out. I will definitely be linking all your pages and everything else that you got to promote on our Facebook page. So definitely check that out after the interview. Randall, is there anything else that you'd like for our listeners to know, or anything else you'd like to say?
Just keep your eyes and ears peeled for the Reflection music video. It's going to be dropping soon. It's in motion right now. Yes. Like I said, we just got to get John Russell lassoed in. And as soon as we get those shots with him, we'll be finishing up. So I'm really excited about the Reflection video. This is going to be the premiere Swindy video, and it's going to be almost part of the completion of this first package here of everything that is meant to be out there. So
I feel very honored to be on this adventure and this journey with you, Randall. Not just because of what we've shared artistically between us as far as professionals, but as far as I just see this future for you with this project and anything that you touch, with this mentality that you have. I am so blessed and honored to have you on the show, and I'd like to extend that same with Allison, Michael, Jeff, and anybody else that you're bringing into future projects with Swindy. So
oh yeah, no, yeah. I totally agree, man. Like I'm all giddy and excited because I love the fact that you're thinking and looking the way that you are, because it's just
Thanks.
It's very refreshing.
Perfect.
It's very refreshing in the music industry
that path
right now. So
thank you
for sure. So I'd like to thank you very, very much for hanging out with us here on In the Mind of Music, listeners. We're gonna go ahead and play Reflection, which features Jonathan Russell, nice. And we're gonna go ahead and play that right now.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you, guys. Thanks, IPO.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you as well, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Yes, have a great night.
You too. Peace.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I'm going to get this pulled up here real quick.
What an exciting time for Swindy, and what an exciting time for all the other projects and Sphere and everything that he has going on right now. I know everybody in Tucson that's listening right now is definitely equally excited, because it is a very humbling feeling to have one of our local bands go out and just touch the world with their music. So we definitely find pride in that, and it's awesome to just know these musicians at the levels that they are, and then see them grow. So we're going to definitely be talking about them a year from now, 2 years, 3 years from now on the show, saying, remember that awesome interview we had, and look at them where they are now. So we're going to go ahead and play Reflection off of the new Swindy EP. Please keep your eyes peeled, like Randall says, for the music video. It'll be hitting pretty soon. And on April 26th, catch them at the Pima County Fair in Tucson, Arizona. And here we go.
Here we go.
We had a love like a fire. each other